Call this meeting to order of Town of Pelletier Board of Commissioners, 6:30 Monday, October the 28th, 2024. Roll call.
Walter Vincent. Dan Taylor.
President
Bill
County
Sowers.
Pool.
Here.
Sonny Mason.
Here.
David Grass.
Here.
Tim Quinn.
Here.
Okay. Let's all stand for the pledge and invitation, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we thank you for each and every one that is present. And we ask that you be with them, lead, guide, and direct them in what you know is best for this town. Bless each of us, lead, guide, and direct us. And thank you for this day. Amen.
Amen. Oh, I don't know who would not. We get to it, we'll ask Brett. All right, everybody has the agenda in front of them. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as written? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approval of the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 meeting. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to adopt as written?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Department's report, Code Enforcement Officer Chris Jensen.
Gentlemen, good evening. Did you want to start out with a question then? Did you want to start with a question?
He had a question about that complaint,
About that item number 2,
Number two.
the complaint right here.
the complaint.
Did you not know about that?
Well, he
No, I
didn't
didn't.
know that
I'm
needed
not-
to be discussed on closed session or
Yeah,
not.
I'd like to do that
Yeah.
now when it's open, if that's an appropriate thing.
Has Brett got a copy of this?
He does. It's upright.
It's under the complaint, second, yeah. This property is up for sale.
Which one? What else works?
The one where the car.
Really?
Yeah.
I know
it is.
exactly where that's at.
Yeah.
So you're looking to
Are you
discuss that
serious?
in closed session for attorney-client privilege?
Possibly there's a
I
girl
doubt it from that
information
guy.
involved with it.
Still a freaking piece of work.
Yeah. I think that's fine. We'd have to go into a closed session to discuss that, maybe do that towards the end of the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be happy to enlighten you then.
Okay.
We'll just move straight on. 307 Naples Drive, I believe it's 307, correct? Yeah. Has begun the process of cleaning up the yard, and I believe they're going in and trying to do something with that property now, so it's a good sign that's held by an LLC, and it would be hard to find them. They're out of state as well, they're based out of South Carolina, so good stuff they're doing and what they should be doing. They're the only ones this month. Well, that's 124 Pettifer Red. They're still doing the dribs and drab cleaning along with Angela Becker over on Sandsboro Lane. Dribs and drabs. I'm probably gonna end up finding Miss Becker because, not finding her, but giving her a 30-day warning to kind of light a fire, and hopefully she can move her body along and get that stuff completed quicker than we're moving right now. 106, 105 Highway 58 is the big business on the corner there next to the Dollar General that we're always having a continual problem with ever since I've been doing this. I believe this man has now given up because he's thinking about retirement and he feels like he's done enough to the property. I think that's the impression I got the last time I spoke with him. And I had to clarify some points on that. Yet he still has not cleaned out that ditch like I asked. So I'm gonna write him up. Well, I already wrote him a little happy gram. So he'll have to get that done within 30 days for us. He'll just start accruing fines. That's about it for we only met 2 weeks ago, so it wasn't much to go over. Let's see here. Moving on to the police law, guys. 63 calls for service, 22 in your ETJ, totaling grand total of 85 calls to service in your immediate area plus the town. And let's see here. I did have a final thought here. Just for transparency's sake, wanted to let you know that your gift came in a timely fashion last month. It was greatly appreciated. Thank you so much once again. And I bought a puppy dog. I already blew through the money. So I bought an English Bulldog puppy for my wife for the 25th wedding anniversary and needed a chunk.
Very good.
And with that, I close.
Very good.
Any questions for the lieutenant?
English Bulldog.
Yeah, I already have one, so now I have two. Yeah, the other one's named Meatball. None. All right, guys. I'll talk to you. I'll enlighten you more about that situation that I wrote down, and we can talk further on that in a minute. Thank you.
All right, since that, I need a motion to add to our agenda after the commissioners' comments and before adjournment, a closed session. So do I hear a motion to add the closed session to our?
So moved.
Second.
Where you gonna put that on your?
Second page. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, Western Carteret Fire and EMS, there will not be a report this month because this month's not over. And so anyhow, they don't have a report until after the 1st. Financial report?
Look it up. I think we have 33,000 of pound money. Is that right?
26.
26.
26 on it right there. Yeah. How much you got in general fund?
240,
Okay.
294.
Gotcha. What she said.
All right. All right, and,
I got it right here.
Okay.
I have a question on that. There was a line item for lease for a billboard,
Yes,
those $600 and some odd dollars.
extra, anything over, we always get the 900, but and then if they have additional ads, we get a percentage of what's over that. So that was our portion of over advertising.
this is part of the rent on the billboard. We own this billboard right outside here.
Yeah, I know we own the billboard, but I was never aware that we got a percentage of their
We get
advertising.
$900 or 20%, whatever is greater.
Okay.
All right, anything else on the finance? All right, planning report?
Planning board went over and reviewed the ordinance for the campers and RV storage, and we accepted what was presented to us, and it's now passed to the commissioners.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners report, Walter,
I'm done.
Dan,
Nothing is present.
Sonny?
No, sir. David?
We did have a call, about a property on Mills Branch Road. Man has a pond. It's been there quite some time. In the past years, he has tried to pump it into the ditch. He was worried that the ditch wouldn't hold the amount of water that was flowing through there. And I looked through it, and yeah, it could be tweaked out a little bit. The ditch did do fairly well in the last storm that we had, but it's come to my attention from Mr. DeSims that pumping that water out of your property mechanically into another ditch is unlawful. And so he's kind of on his own with his pond. The pond was there when he bought the property, so.
How is the ditches down that road?
It's not bad. There's a few that are clogged up, not quite clogged all the way, but they could be freed up a few feet from every culvert. It's kind of got swells into it. I know we had a chance for a grant of some of them to clean out. That would definitely be one I would put on the block.
The county has received another grant, and they asked me about drainage ditches and stuff that they would be willing to help us with and not cost the town nothing.
That would definitely be one on the block, especially there towards the end, to keep, because it has to wrap around the culvert. The left side, as you're going down, is pretty good. Those culverts are good. It flows, but it doesn't turn the culvert or turn the cul-de-sac. It goes straight into the creek. But where it comes around and goes around that culvert, it breaches up and goes into the woods and the property at the end of the road.
Which is Sonny's.
I believe so.
Yep, that's what got me in Florence.
Yeah.
There's no
But
ditch on
even-
the other side of your property.
No, it's all the way over on the other side of the subdivision, but there's no way to get to it.
And it's all, that's shot from the end of it too, is all cleaned out, the vegetation's all clean,
And the ditch that it feeds into is on my property.
I'm all for cleaning the ditches, but even if we do clean the ditches, I'm gonna have to tell the man tomorrow that, you can't just pump water into the ditch because you have a pond that fills up.
What's he trying to do? Was he trying to pump his pond down? What's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his pond's overfilled, and it does that periodically whenever we get a storm or whatnot. When we were mowing the ditches, he ended up putting wood across and putting a lay flat hose across the road
I remember all that.
and trying to run it, down the other side because the other side's a lot cleaner.
But you mentioned this time, he said it had, he believes some septic had leached into it too.
He said, he used.
That right there, you don't want to run to our waterways.
Yeah.
And cross other people's property.
He tried to use some verbiage that would try to persuade me when he said, he's worried that it may be a health concern. I says, well, then you can't put that health concern on every
Everybody.
neighbor and the creek.
It's a health concern because it's standing water and been that way,
There's no, the way the pond was made, there's no relief at the end of the pond.
Yeah.
So it just fills up until it crests over and then goes to the neighborhood behind it.
That wasn't even a pond. That was a
just a dirt pit.
it was a dirt pit.
Yeah.
It was a pit for people to haul
Right.
dirt. When they built Highway 58, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they first did that.
But that wasn't dug when he had the property. The previous owner had that. So when he purchased the property,
Yeah.
it was a pond on that property. He knows what he had when he had it.
I hope that.
I don't see.
Be clear, if it's the town ditch and we wanted to allow him to do it, we could allow him, but he can't just pump it into the town's ditches without permission. That's what
Gotcha.
we referred to earlier, so.
Well, and then the problem is it runs across private property at the end, even though that's probably a drainage right away, but it's property that a taxpayer is paying money to the town for.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a town right away though, right? An easement?
Not on the map. That's on my property.
Really? Wow. He's got a problem then.
I don't know where they were planning on putting the water when they did the subdivision. It was gonna go down there and make a loop, I guess. And then the ditch was dug, and when I bought it, the ditch was there. And it's always drained the subdivision, always.
And that's getting illegal, I think he's going to
Do what?
I think Eddie's going to develop that with it.
Mm-hmm.
So who maintains the ditches, is the town or not?
Yeah, the town does.
Yeah, okay, well, you got your answer, sir?
Yep.
I think it'd be a great thing, you know, with the state money or the county money.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
They don't need to just completely waller them out, but yeah, there are some culverts that are only half of them are showing.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you've been down there, you've seen it.
Yeah,
So,
so I'll meet with him tomorrow and tell him that, yeah, we're gonna clean your ditches out, and no, you're not pumping your pond water into the ditches.
Yeah.
Unless maybe he could get a signature from every single homeowner, which I doubt that's gonna happen.
probably not.
Pay them good. Pay them good. All right, Tim, you have anything?
Only thing I have is, this being a November meeting, and we're still showing money of AARP. I think we should try and allocate that money before we leave tonight, so that it can be spent. Otherwise, we wanna give it back, because our next meeting is December 2nd, and y'all said that we had to give it back on December 1st.
Set the deadline, 31st.
Oh, okay, the 31st.
But we do need to figure out what to do with it. We have 38,000 left on that. Let me find it.
So, 38.
$38,300.97.
$5,000 each commissioner, that's what it's got to mayor, take care of
I don't think we can do that.
That was a close conversation.
We'll note in the minutes that was a joke.
Well, I mean, I'm a commissioner and I never wanted to bring this up, but at one time years ago, when Walter was mayor, the Pell Grant money got my road paved and some other roads in the town. And then they said the next time later on, and I've never pushed it, they were gonna try to put a culvert, a drainage on that ditch that we're talking about and fill that, just a swell. So I didn't have that ditch is 6-7 feet wide and 5 feet deep that goes down my property. I mean, but I didn't want to bring it up being a commissioner. I didn't know if it was conflict of interest.
Yeah, there's only, we'd have to look, at the reasons, you can't spend that money on just anything.
Right.
There's different buckets that you can put that money in.
Yeah.
And so once we get an idea of what we're talking about, whether that's ditch repair or whatnot, we need then to figure out whether we can actually spend the money for that purpose.
I can help out with that ARPA stuff.
A new station alert has arrived.
Oh my.
That money can be basically reimbursed through a grant project ordinance. And as long as that's done before the end of this calendar year, then the town will be fine. So if there is it has to be an eligible expense. Basically, any regular expense that y'all would have adequate documentation for, whether it be utilities,
Planner,
I mean, yeah, well, just any.
attorney fees.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, basically.
I know, I'm serious, I mean, because y'all are
If we spend that
employees.
money on, I think that's a good idea, if you, rather than find something that we're not
Right.
sure, if we can find something you're
Handy
spending
when-
town money on, that you can essentially reimburse yourself, that's a good habit.
Yeah, basically, you can go, your time period is, I think right now, 3rd, 2021, up until now.
Use it.
And, yeah, eligible expenses, including attorney fees, planning services, that you could basically, the town could reimburse itself, take that ARPA money and just move it from your ARPA, account into the general fund. And then that money, you can do whatever you want with it.
All right, if you can help take care of that.
Yeah, definitely.
That way,
Can't you encumber the funds?
Yes, yeah. It just,
So they don't have to spend it right now.
it just has,
as
yeah, it
long
has
as
to be
it-
obligated.
Yeah,
Specifically has to be obligated before the end of the calendar year.
Yeah.
But then you get into the problem where, if it's obligated, but, there's an issue, like if you went to like a contract or something, and that fell through, then there's no way to re-obligate it. So the reimbursement, through a grant project ordinance would be ideal, because as soon as that grant project ordinance is approved, you're gonna have it obligated and expended immediately. But yeah, you're correct, though. That's a good point, because the end of this calendar year is the deadline for obligation. The deadline for an expenditure is actually the end of the calendar year for, 26.
Yeah.
I do think that the easiest thing, though, if it's an eligible expense, exactly what you're talking about, pay back the plan, pay back yourself for what you paid for the plan. And then that way those funds are in your account, and you don't have to worry about today whether you need to obligate it or not obligate it. You can take your time and pick the project you want.
Okay, all right. That good?
I just wanted to see it addressed.
Okay. All right, mayor's report, we did get a price on replacing, the clerk's door and fixing the lights. We got 2 exit lights, and the chairs, right?
Yes.
Okay. He did send the proof of insurance. Don't have his copy of his license yet, but the total, $895. Okay, I had met the guy, Carolina Carpentry, Crystal Coast
Who?
Carpentry.
You know what?
No, I don't know. What was his name? You remember?
How much no difference was it?
Something
So that-
Jenkins, something.
So that was to install the door.
He's done previous work with Watson's, Darlene Watson recommended him. And he came in and looked around Dan was here.
I met him
Yeah.
too.
So that's to install the door, fix the electrical, and put the chairs together.
Yes. Now, when he installs the doors, that's, install the door, trim it, paint it, the whole works.
Ain't too bad, I don't think.
No,
And the exit signs.
the 2 exit signs, I think, instead of replacing, he thinks he can open them up and put,
He didn't put them on this quote because he thinks they're just light bulbs that need to be done.
okay.
So he doesn't actually have them on here to replace.
But it did have for the chairs, right?
Yes, the chairs are on the back page.
Okay. And
What?
And fixing the storage room locks.
He was showed the storage room lock and told about it. So I assume he did add it in there.
I have a question on the front page. It says customer provides all materials. So this quote is just his labor. And then it's gonna be plus materials.
I might change it a little bit.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
When you have to go buy trim.
What?
I said, that might change it a little bit when you have to go buy the trim for that door. On
He
both
said he was
sides.
gonna reuse
Trim and
this
paint.
trim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't that what he said, Dan, that he can reuse the
That's what he
trim?
said.
Gotta buy paint too.
So I don't know what materials he's talking about. I just read that here.
Doors here.
The door.
Doors here.
Oh,
Doors
yeah.
are
Doors here.
bought, paid for.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter the trim inside and out, because sometimes, like, taking that trim off, it can get messed up. The paint, you're talking what, a gallon of paint, which we won't even use half of
Put a
that.
door in the trim, yeah.
And then the locks out back. And then light bulbs, if he thinks it's just light bulbs, I don't think we'll be in. I think all total will be well under $1,500 for all of it.
And it'll all be done.
Yeah. Cause, you know, we gotta get the lights and that lock back here because the fire marshal's gonna be on us. We don't.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, sir. Spend up to $1,500.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
How am
Okay.
I wording this? We're accepting this estimate
We're,
plus materials?
yes, to spend up to $1,500 materials and labor.
But we don't tell him that.
No.
No.
Well, he's already gave us a price on labor, $895. All right, we good? All right, new business, we have, replacement for planning board seat. I know I was been asked if we could table that for one more month. We put it on the Facebook. We're kinda hoping that, someone from Pelletier Shores might wanna take that seat. But did anybody have anybody else they'd like to name, or
Did you say you had somebody from Pelican Shores?
not, no, not right off, but, they're hoping, they got some in there that they're hoping will look at our Facebook page and would like to represent their neighborhood, because really all neighborhoods are kind of represented except for that one. You know, so it'd be nice if we could get someone out of there that would sit on the planning board.
I talked to River Clark's mom and dad the other day, well, it's been a month ago, and mentioned something about it, and I just have not had time to go talk to him about it.
I had several conversations
You
with
have?
River.
Okay.
And even up to, you come to this meeting tonight, you come to this meeting and
Right.
he just sort of lost interest in it, I guess.
I
But
think he's just too busy. Family and work.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of kids, so I thought the young mind might be good in there, you know.
I mean, I had a conversation with him too.
Yeah. I can't think
Do
of
you
anybody.
know anybody that was ever in Pelican Shores?
Not offhand,
I mean,
no.
one lady was here at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the dog thing.
Yeah.
But, not Donna, who's the other lady?
Colleen?
Colleen wanted to speak to someone, so.
Okay, well, it's just,
we could drop a note to their HOA and then have their HOA send out an email over their
Reach out.
HOA to, hey, you want someone to represent your community and
Yeah,
go after them that way.
it'd be nice if we had someone out of that community
Yeah.
to represent them. I mean, cause they are part of the town and it'd be nice to have a voice from there,
Right.
so.
So Colleen's gonna talk to whoever it is?
I think so. So, do I hear a motion to table this till next
So
meeting?
moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, public comment? Okay. All right, old business, zoning ordinance amendment, residential sheds, Carl?
Okay. Yes, I have a note about both of these old items. I have the original version that discussed the last meeting, the public hearing, and I also have an updated version. So I just wanted to disclose these recommended amendments have been altered since the initial public hearing date. I don't think they've been altered substantially enough to warrant a new public notice, but I feel like that should be determined by the board with regard to the town attorney. I especially don't think it's necessary for the updated shed update because I simply removed the little language. But yeah, let me go through the shed update portion really quickly. So yeah, public hearing was held last meeting after adequate public notice was given. The planning board provided its written comment to the commissioners. Items continued due to the concern I'm going to talk about right now. The shed anchoring issue ordinance, issue overview I have right here. Yeah, so exclusion of the anchoring requirement was brought up on the last meeting. I stated in my previous comments that this matter is controlled by the state building code. The town did not have a more restrictive requirement. Town attorney suggested I reach out to the UNC School of Government for clarification. So my follow-up here with the report is that I had an advising call with Adam Lovelady on the 22nd of this month. Adam is an attorney and professor of public law and government at UNC Chapel Hill School of Government. He's an expert in land use law and planning. Adam stated the shed anchoring requirement would fall under the purview of the state building code. He confirmed that the building code is a statewide standard and a local ordinance may not be more restrictive. We also discussed flood damage prevention ordinances. Local government may strengthen its flood damage or flood ordinance requirements. However, this regulation is effective only for special flood hazard areas, not the entire planning jurisdiction. So, and it needs to be related to flooding. I also emailed Brad Hartman. He is the assistant planning director for Carteret County and a certified floodplain manager. Carteret County administers the building code on behalf of the town. Asked for feedback on two concerns. The anchoring requirement. I feel like the anchoring requirement is under the purview of the building code, not zoning regulation. And a local government may not have a more restrictive building code standard than what is provided by the state. I provided relevant excerpts from the state building code. Greg responded on the 14th of this month and agreed with my assessment. Also, I reviewed the Land Use Law in North Carolina book, 3rd edition by David Owens, published by the UNC School of Government. And it notes that the building code is uniform throughout the state. Each local government enforces the code approved by the North Carolina Building Code Council. No local variations in the code are allowed other than fire prevention codes and floodplain management regulations approved by the state. I also discussed this matter with my supervisor, Larry Faison. Larry previously served as a city manager. He cautioned me about assisting with any ordinance adoption that would conflict with the state building code. So for these reasons, that I recommend that the board proceed without this anchoring requirement. So that's how I feel, or that's not how I feel. That is my recommendation for the anchoring requirement. I also made a change from the ordinance that was previously provided for public review. I removed the proposed requirement that construction materials used shall be mentioned on the permit application. I feel like there's no need for this requirement because it doesn't change the outcome of whether it's approved or not. There's nothing in the zoning regulation that says you have to use this certain type of material. So since that is something that's taken away or trimmed off of the original, original amendment, I guess, recommended amendment that was provided for public review. I don't feel like we need to go through the public approval or review process again. Would y'all like to ask any questions about that?
Yes, anybody got any questions for him?
I was just wondering, Mr. Mason, did you find out anything?
I'm supposed to meet with him tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Oh, tomorrow.
I've tried all month.
All I was gonna say is, how, if that's so, then how does Brunswick County do it?
In the flood, they have it in their flood damage prevention ordinance. So your hunch was right, but a lot of times the town can be more restrictive in certain things. Like the state sets a minimum and you can be more restrictive. In the building code, that hunch doesn't pan out, probably because they have really good lobbyists, builders do. And so what they've done is, essentially, they've just said, look, this is the code, this is gonna apply to builders no matter what jurisdiction you're in. And the only way out of that is if it's a fire damage prevention ordinance or a flood damage prevention ordinance. So Carlton did a great job of, that was what my understanding of it was, that was his understanding, but I asked for him to go ahead and check with all these other sources to make sure that we weren't giving you bad advice, right? So checking with the school of government, checking with the school of government's literature, it's just panned out that we can't add these extra requirements unless it's in a flood zone, which I understand we already have that ordinance in effect now.
Yes, correct. Because at a previous meeting, I reported on the Brunswick County UDO requirement. It does appear in their flood damage prevention ordinance portion of their UDO, but as I previously noted, it only applies to special flood hazard areas. So it wouldn't apply jurisdiction-wide if you have anything that's a Zone X. And Pelletier actually has very similar, I think the same anchoring requirement in its flood damage prevention ordinance. But again, it's for special flood hazard areas.
So special flood hazard, is that any flood zone?
No, that's, I believe, and I believe that it's for 1%, 1% chance. I don't think 500 is included, or 500 a year is included in that. So 100-year flood zone, anything that would be more likely to flood.
Okay.
Correct me wrong.
Okay. So for that one, is it, as of right now, is it y'all's recommendation that this board approve it as written for now?
Yes, I would recommend that you approve the, basically approve the provided residential shed amendment with the update where I removed the proposed requirement for for the construction, specified construction material.
Materials and that.
And I have both copies of the both copies of the ordinance. And yeah, the anchoring requirement was not in the what was presented to for the public hearing.
That'd be good. So do I hear a motion that we adopt the residential shed ordinance as amended by Carlton as he just explained?
So moved.
I would suggest that we also go through the planning board comment too, really quickly. If we have a copy of it, I can read it, and the board can decide whether it accepts or would like to accept that comment and use it as its own for approving this.
Because we statement of consistency.
Yeah,
Consistency statement, yeah, so we'll need to approve it as well.
Yes, well,
What he
basically,
signed
we just have, not the one that was signed tonight.
The old,
Yeah, the two.
they're in your book.
Do you have a copy? Actually, you can just.
It's in my book somewhere.
Sorry about that. I should have brought copies.
Are they the ones you're talking about?
Yes, yes. So, actually,
There it
these
is.
are the amending ordinances. You have the, yeah, that's what I mean. There's,
This one?
yeah,
That should be in your book.
yeah, there we go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna look, I have the first one here. And I'll read, this planning board statement. So, the commissioners, y'all can consider, officially have the planning board statement, you'll have it considered on record. And then if you would like, you can accept this statement as your own, including this consistency statement. So that helps us meet more than one requirement. First, the governing board has to take the planning board's opinion into consideration. And also, the planning board needs a consistency statement and I guess just a general statement of approval when taking final action on an amendment.
It's already in the book, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate if you wanted to just.
I was gonna read it out and just, yeah, I'll just read it out, just for the sake of the minutes. So, the Town of Pelletier, North Carolina Planning Board, recommendation and consistency statement, for zoning text amendment to add, actually.
It's the wrong one.
Wrong one, I apologize.
I'm sorry, we'll accept it for the next one.
Oh, wait, no, here we go, I found it. Sorry, y'all.
I got it.
Town of Pelletier, North Carolina Planning Board, recommendation and consistency statement for zoning text amendment to add requirements for sheds as an accessory structure within certain residential districts and related updates. In consistency with the Carteret County Campbell Land Use Plan adopted December 20th, 2021 is not relevant to the proposed amendment. The Planning Board recommends approval of this amendment. And this was signed by, I believe, the acting chair on 5/6/2024.
Mr. Mayor, the motion would be to adopt the amendment and the consistency statement that was just read.
Okay,
In one motion.
In one motion.
all right, but we got a motion on the floor.
Second.
Well, wait a minute
Will
now.
you amend your motion to include what I just said?
It was his.
Will you amend the motion?
Yes, I'm in the motion to
Okay.
include what you just said.
Second.
Let's second the second, okay. Good.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Yep, all in favor say aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Okay. Got that. All right, the next one is the zoning amendments is the mobile home park and travel trailer park update.
Yes, thank you. The public hearing was held last meeting, the planning board provided written comment. Item was continued due to concern about the setback requirement not meeting state fire code. So this is my follow-up on that. I spoke to Bob Penrod, the town fire marshal. He referred me to Joseph Spencer, who is a code enforcement officer for the state, I believe. He works for the North Carolina office, the state fire marshal, under Department of Insurance, the manufactured building division. So I asked him about setback requirements for manufactured home parks. He referred to me to a section from the state of North Carolina regulations for manufactured homes, 2019 edition, revised in 2023. The requirement is that per the NFPA, National Fire Prevention Association, I think, 501A, which is their, basically, which is the book from that. I think it pertains to manufactured homes. No portion of a manufactured home, excluding the tongue, shall be closer than 10 feet side to side, 8 feet end to side, or 6 feet end to end horizontally from any other manufactured home or community building, unless the exposed composite walls and roof of either structure are without openings and constructed of materials that will provide a 1 hour fire resistance rating, or the structures are separated by a 1 hour fire rated barrier. So ignoring the fire rated barrier, the resistance rating, we're just assuming for the purposes of our ordinance that the manufactured homes could be located next to other manufactured homes, and they'll be located next to structures that do not have those additional protections for the sake of having a more restricted requirement. These required setbacks are already met by the currently proposed amendment, with the side property line distance between structures being the shortest possible distance of 14 feet. So if you look at my previous ordinance amendment, I recommended basically it was 7 feet from the side lot line or side parcel line. So yeah, you basically just multiply that by 2. So 7 to 14 between 4. And I mean, it's not talking about the orientation of the manufactured homes. It's not considering that, whether it's touching the end of, or closer to the end of the manufactured home, or closer to the side of the one. It's just just any side, basically. This what I previously provided meets the state requirement. I also looked at the state fire code a little closer. I thought it would be helpful to add a review of the fire apparatus access requirement by the fire marshal. So basically, the state fire code, which is part of the state building code, they have what's called a fire apparatus access requirement in Appendix D, which basically says you have to have these access roads that emergency vehicles can get down. They have to be of sufficient, size and sufficient, depth that can hold a certain amount of weight. You have to have turnarounds for roads that are over a certain length. I thought including this by reference, since the fire apparatus access is not addressed in the NCO-DOT subdivision roads minimum construction standards, I thought that would be a good idea to include. So even though this fire access requirement has to be provided anyways, I thought it would be might be helpful to have this this process, this requirement added when for zoning approvals granted for a manufactured home park or a RV park by the town. Basically giving the copy of the plan when it's submitted for me to review. I can give a copy to the town fire marshal, and he'll look at the access requirements and say, hey, this looks good, this doesn't look good. So that gives him some input in the process, and make sure before they get any further in the process of getting a park constructed that they're meeting these fire access requirements. That was my recommended addition to the that's been made since the public hearing. I don't know if that is significant enough to warrant another notice. It's basically, that requirement needs to be met anyways, but this addition, in a way, I guess, would lengthen or, will definitely would lengthen the process of a manufactured home park or RV park.
You're talking about the fire marshal stuff.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, that would have had to go on before him anyhow.
Okay.
No matter what, it was gonna have to go before the fire marshals, before they,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, it was okay to, it's not significant enough to warrant an additional year.
Correct, we're good.
Okay.
It's ready for commission considerations.
The only other change, one other change, I updated the language in the setbacks table for, spaces or lots within manufactured home parks or travel trailer parks. I changed property line to lot line, except for the exterior property line portion. So instead of saying from front property line, from side property line, I changed to lot, from front lot line, from side lot line, because, you know, think of a lot as a subdivision within, the property or the parcel.
yeah, because it could be one
It's a space.
big property
Yeah.
with different lots, so which would be fine.
And then it can't be done, they don't own it.
Yeah, the only, property line, requirement I didn't change was from any exterior property line of the park. So that, yeah, explicitly that's referencing the actual property line.
Yeah.
So that was the only other small change I made since, the public hearing. If the board is okay with that, and I guess I should read the text of, the addition for the fire apparatus access.
Well, would we really need that? I mean, because,
You think we should admit it? I mean, that's fine if you want to, we can.
well, I'd like to say, when it comes to the fire marshal's gonna have that say, no matter what we put on there.
Yeah, well, for the sake of simplicity, yeah, I guess for the sake of, you know, we could remove that requirement.
Well, I mean,
The requirement's still gonna be there, it's just not gonna be, expressed in the language of the zoning ordinance.
I would leave it there,
You would leave
just
it
to
there?
make sure
Okay.
that.
Right, and people know, when they go to one spot, and they say, oh, I need to reference this other.
Yeah, it'll give them a kind of a reminder, well, you know, there's another step in this.
Okay, yeah, so if the board's, the board doesn't have any other questions or concerns about this, I would recommend, I'd recommend approval, and, I can read the planning board statement for that one too.
You already have.
I started reading it.
That was good enough for me.
Well, yeah, just,
Go ahead.
okay, I'll read this, this is the comment from the planning board, that can be adopted by the commissioners on second on this. So the Town of Pelletier, North Carolina Planning Board, recommendation and consistency statement for zoning text amendment to add minimum lot area dimensions and setback for lots or spaces within manufactured home parks and travel trailer camper parks, as well as other minor edits for the MC plan, mobile home, and camp park district. The current zoning ordinance references a non-existent ordinance to address requirements for lots or spaces within manufactured home parks and travel trailer camper parks. This update specifies those missing requirements. The proposed amendment is not consistent with the Carteret County land use plan adopted December 20th, 2021. A majority of the town's planning and development jurisdiction falls within the limited transition area. Proposed lot sizes do not meet the minimum lot size requirements in policy 2.5 part 2. However, the amendment is consistent with the dimensional requirements within Article 2, Section 1 of the Carteret County Manufactured Home Park and Recreational Vehicle Park Ordinance. Therefore, the planning board recommends approval of this amendment. This was signed by the acting chair on the 1st of July of this year. So, I have that back over to y'all.
So, Mr. Mayor, the motion will be to approve the minutes of the corresponding consistency statement.
All right,
So moved.
have a motion,
Second.
a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Other business, none at this time. Commissioners comment? Tim, David,
Good.
Sonny, Dan?
The only thing is the dog stuff, the animal control stuff.
Right, I do have an update on that. So following the last meeting, I sent several emails to the county's attorney to determine what help, if any, they're gonna provide to us from the county level. Unfortunately, what I was asking for was a meeting between the mayor, the manager, and the attorneys if needed to sit down and talk about this, but the manager was in western North Carolina a lot, helping out in western North Carolina. But there, from the attorney's perspective, who she says she talked to the manager, is it would require us to pay for that service. And I said, how much? And they said, whatever the cost of the personnel will be. So essentially what they're telling us is that they're not going to, evidently they resource this out anyway, they contract out with the Humane Society, I believe, to do this anyway, and that they're not going to, they don't have the staff to do it in Pelletier. So if we want someone to enforce our ordinance, I think they're happy to do it if we pay them the cost of that personnel, or you can hire your own personnel, and that way you have some control over it. I did reiterate to them that this is a small town, small budget, not a lot of money. You guys are paying county taxes just like the people in unincorporated areas are paying county taxes. I know in other jurisdictions, for example, Onslow County, they provide animal services throughout the county without regard to the municipality's borders. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Carteret County is going to be willing to do that.
I got you. And didn't we have some names of people in Swansboro that do animal control?
Yeah. Yeah, we did
It's my
find
understanding, like Cedar
I
Point
think-
and Cape Carter, and all they do, what they do for animal control is they have some cages that they bought, like cat cages.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody has a problem, they come to the town hall and check out the cage. And if it's a dog problem, I don't know what to do. So,
Well, see, they have, well, I don't know what Cedar Point has,
That's what
but I
Cedar Point
think
does.
Cedar Point
That's what they do.
told me that they just call the county when they have a dog problem like that,
Yeah.
a vicious dog.
So I think they would, I got the sense that they still do dangerous dogs or rabies, right? But what I understand the problem in the town, correct me if I'm wrong, is feral cats. Just-
Nuisance.
Yeah, just nuisance stuff, right? So that is the stuff that they're not willing to assist without some monetary compensation. I asked how much, and they said whatever the cost of the.
Well, didn't we, there on White House Forks Road, we had vicious dogs and they wouldn't do anything?
Sure, they wouldn't do that.
That's state law, isn't it?
Well, I called them one time on the neighbor, and they come out and took two of her dogs, the county.
Yeah, well, see, that's changed now, that's,
They probably thought you lived in the
Red.
county.
Didn't the vicious dogs, that's not mandated for the counties or the states?
What she said to me is Carteret County actually contracts with the Humane Society for many services, and only manages the legally mandated.
You don't want that dog up, that's fine, come watch me.
So that's
Put a bullet in it
Animal
and-
control services.
So that's mandated, that.
Right.
But,
For those two
if
things.
damage to your property, yeah,
If just somebody got a dog running in the yard, it's not let out of the car.
Ain't no different than coyote.
And feral cats.
I called a man
You got
after
that
I
down,
pulled the collar off the
cat
dog,
cages
because I
and.
couldn't get close enough to the dog,
Had to agree with that.
look at the collar.
just tell them they got rabies.
But I did, I tried as the board asked, I tried to get a meeting unable to get a meeting, no.
But we tried.
Yeah, well, the county's pretty difficult to get anything, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, not for lack of trying.
Yeah. All right, so what we need to do is kind of either get the cages and rely on the county for vicious dogs and rabies. Is that what we need to do?
I think so. I mean, that's all we can do.
All right.
We can't spend $30,000-$40,000 a year for a dog catcher. Come out to do it. And I don't think that we, as a little small town, should be doing any more than what our neighbors are doing and the rest of them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe more advanced to have a dog catcher or an animal control officer, but, I don't know if they do or not, but, I know Bud don't have one, and I know Cape Verde don't have one, and I know
Cedar Point don't have them.
So,
We get some cages and,
you get a couple of cages from Tractor Supply, and you let it, and I think you had something in there, a form that we can go by, that at least sign out the cat cage or whatever it is. If somebody goes by the town hall, we'll give them a cat cage, and they use it, and then they bring it back when they get through with it.
We can create for them, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think, I mean, that's what the other towns, I understand, that's what the other towns are doing.
okay. All right. All right, we're good?
I'm good.
All right. All right, do I hear a motion, we go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in closed session.